Hello and welcome to Follow Everton. This is another one of my tactical videos where I'm running down one. I think probably the biggest moment in the match against Spurs was their opener. Granted, there was some other goals clearly that we gave up. One was that mistake by Pickford that Heung-min Son basically tricked him for pace, and he basically knocked the ball in the back of the net. There was the goal where Michael Keane and Tarkovsky struggled to pick out Romero for the corner, and then they have the Roman Dixon to Mickey Van de Ven foot race for the other goal. But the one that stood out and really broke the match open was the goal scored by Yves Bissouma. So at the beginning here, we have it starts the play here with Pedro Porro. And I'd like you to all pay attention on the defensive side, in particular to Dwight McNeil. I'm not sure in this play because the rest of the squad seems to be quite compact, and McNeil is hovering on the outer. I'm not sure is he the one outlet other than DCL, or was that something that needs to be kind of addressed and coached by the defensive team here? But I've marked the black line is where the defensive line is for the offside, held by Mikalenko there, and then a majority of the Tottenham players, which is similar to what I mentioned on the video with Adam, are sitting there comfortably between the midfield and the defensive, narrow defensive four of Everton. So in this case, Dwight McNeil's playing quite central, blocking Kulusevski's passing lane. But the reality is, where do we best use McNeil? Because if he played narrow, he blocked Kulusevski, but it opened up the lane for Brennan Johnson to receive the ball from Porro. So now I think this one in particular really highlights how narrow the Everton squad is. So the yellow dots all signify an Everton player making the shape here. So we have 1, 2 on the far left. We have Dixon all the way to Mikalenko on right next to Brennan Johnson. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the 10 field players, all in this narrow section here, trying to shut down the play and trying to close out the space. So generally speaking, you'd think, okay, we're playing really narrow. We're going to give possession to the edge of the 18-yard box if Brennan Johnson's able to break through. But how do we shut down the shot even if they have possession? And that's something to think about here. So again, what I was saying, keep an eye on Dwight McNeil. He's the support player who's can either back up Vitaly Mikalenko or support Abdoulaye Doucouré against the star of this goal in its build-up in Dejan Kulusevski. So now what happens? We have a Brennan Johnson takes on Mikalenko, cuts in, and now Kulusevski's pointing to his right, trying to say that there's a few other options. So what's also interesting here is very quickly, even with this many players back, Everton have given up that piece of space there between Son, Porro, and Odegaard, which is very close to where they end up shooting from at the end for the goal. So as Brennan Johnson tucks in on his left, Mikalenko is then taken off his stronger foot for the tackle, and he works his way towards Kulusevski. And there's a 3v2 matchup, so you'd think we'd be able to cover this. So what ends up happening here is a really clever run at this point by Heung-min Son, similar to the setup for the Madison opportunity in the earlier on in the match. By doing a run, breaking down towards the goal line, it's pulling Idrissa Gana Gueye out of position, and Abdoulaye Doucouré has no idea what to do. And even on a 3v2 in a sense between Dukes, McNeil, and Mikalenko, Dejan Kulusevski here is going to stop, who's going to maneuver his body and do a really clever touch after receiving it from Johnson to work his way through McNeil and Dukes. So as he basically tucked it under his with his left foot behind his right leg, he passed it back to Brennan Johnson, who's now cut into the middle. So now you're seeing both Doucouré and Gana Gueye trying to switch directions. McNeil isn't sure where to position himself and is sitting behind there, and Mikalenko can either sit with Kulusevski or Son. But even still at this point, you think Everton have a lot of players to close down the shot. So on the next play, he knocks it back to Kulusevski again, and we then are looking at a situation where Heung-min Son is another passing option, but again, it's a dummy. He's pretending to run and break that line, and then it puts Mykolenko in a position where he's not sure if he's going to shoot or pass and doesn't know to close down Kulusevski. Closing him down would be good here because what he's caused Garnegay to go to ground without giving up the penalty, so he's able to dink it just to the right of the sliding Garnegay and then tuck in left on this next play, where Mykolenko is now on his weaker foot again, struggling to tackle while also not giving up a penalty, and Kulusevski has now dummied these players multiple times in a really short period here. They're fully spun up in circles. And again, we have a really clustered Everton lineup here. If you look at all these players, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players in shot against 4 passing options for Spurs and a bunch sitting at the edge of the box. But that spot there I've highlighted in white is really the spot to pay attention to. So on this next play, what I've highlighted is positionally, Dwight McNeil is kind of covering that left side, but everyone else is in a very compacted triangle, so compact that you think, okay, surely we can block this shot. But the reality is this camera angle is deceptive. Yves Bissouma's coming in, taking a strike from outside the box, and has a clear shot on goal as long as he can knock past Taki's head there. No, sorry, not Taki. Who were we talking again? Yeah, this was, I believe. This is Jack Harrison. Sorry. So as long as he can get it over Jack Harrison's slick back hair, he's got more than half a goal to shoot from, which was more than enough for that strike to go in. So Everton, when we play compact, okay, how do we make sure that we shut down this play? In some respects, I'm not sure if it was a Dwight McNeil thing by him playing extra, but in reality, we had 9 players back to shut that down. But there was some really clever off-the-ball movement from Heung-min Son. Brennan Johnson's got pace, and we struggled to handle that, and they spun us around quite effectively by cutting inside against left-footed dominant players that can't struggle to tackle with their right foot. So if Bournemouth take advantage of that in a similar way that Spurs did, maybe we're in for a rough ride on Saturday. Until next time, up the Toffees.